there, which you're welcome to avail yourself of anytime you like. We do have the back doors open for a little bit of airflow and the front door open as well. I've taken off my mask while I'm speaking, and I know Morgan will as well per CDC guidelines. So, but of course, I think you've all socially distanced well, and we're just so delighted that you came out tonight. So thank you so much. We have, for this exhibition, this is our first program in relationship to our Annie Nat Fitz exhibit. And we will have a couple of other programs. We're having one in October called Making Time for Art. It's on a Saturday morning, October 23rd. And then November 4th, we're having a Zoom program about the new nonprofit in town called Los Altos Art. So you're welcome to come back for any of those that you would like. And I want to thank the exhibition committee, our chair there, Eleanor Watanabe, for making sure this beautiful exhibition came here. Annie Nat Fitz is a self-taught artist that lived here in Los Altos her whole life, and she turned to painting, oil painting, late in life. And we were just so inspired by her example of lifetime art, but also trying a new medium in her 50s, and just thought that was so incredible. So we wanted to bring out some of her oil paintings. We have over 200 of her oil paintings in our collection. She was also quite a good sketch artist, and she also did busts and other sculptural elements. So we're delighted to have an opportunity to bring a little bit of Annie to the Los Altos community, and to highlight artists that are in town today practicing the idea of how do you really bring history and nature to life? How do you get the next generation excited about their community and feeling part of their community? And we know that Morgan's murals have done just that. So to introduce Morgan, I have asked our board president, Gary Hedden, to say a little bit about our guest speaker this evening. So thank you, Gary.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I'm looking forward to tonight. We first started working with Morgan here at the museum a few years ago for one of our exhibits about birds, and she came in, and it was a real treat to watch her work. She just scoots around and paints so fast and so well. It's delightful. And if you haven't had a chance, go out to the elementary schools in town. Every one has one of her murals. You really need to do that. One of these days, I think I'll do a bike ride tour and take people around town to look at your murals. And so with that, Morgan.
Thank you. Guys, I'm so excited to be here tonight, and I just first off wanted to thank you guys for bringing this art into the history space and starting, the conversation around art. And more loud. I can go louder. I go louder. You just push up or down. Good. So they called me and they said it was sold out, but there's still a lot of empty seats. So it's possible people will be filtering in, and just that's great. And so we'll start Santa slow, and then I'll build. So I'll wait for all the good content for the end. But yeah, recently I went and saw Hamilton with my husband, and it was sold out, just like tonight. And I was confused why so many people would come to this. There's no singing or dancing. The ticket price is lower. I know, and it's mostly family and friends, but still, that's a good turnout. So I thought, you guys have come from your Thursday night, gotten dressed, so you deserve a little bit of singing and dancing. So you get this. Let's see how I do this. Cause I'm happy I'm alone if you feel like a woman without a roof. Cause I'm happy I'm alone if you feel like happiness is truth. Because I'm happy I'm alone if you know what happiness is to you. Yesterday's post, I finished a mural in San Jose, and that is typically how I feel when I finish a mural. So I posted that. So are you guys enjoying the bear project in downtown Los Altos? So many bears. I got to do a bear, and it's called Can You See Yourself in California? And it's really, I wanted to celebrate the multicultural community that we live in. So there's tapestry from let's see, China, India, Japan, Iran, Korea, Mexico, Russia, Vietnam, plus a lot of, like the traditional Mayan pattern around the fabric, kind of keeping us all, they provide a lot of support, I felt like, in our community, so I put them on the hem. And my beer was one of the first ones out there, so it got a lot of attention. The glasses have been attempted robbery like 5 or 6 times, unsuccessfully, and that I have replaced the glasses once. But my bear has received the highest bid. It got a bid of $50,000. Until 3 days later, and I found out it was a hoax. But see, now here's the cool thing. The auction is October 9th. You should go. You could bid on a big bear, little bear, whatever. But now, technically, a $25,000 bid is 50% off. So, and I love how people interact with my artwork, what they do when they come up to it, how they take photos. And I found this little girl sitting on my bear, maybe playing a game or something. I thought that was so sweet. So I'm going to walk you through. I have painted murals in Los Altos. They're all at schools. And the schools that I painted at, and I may have forgotten 1 or 2 tonight. Springer, definitely. Oh, I painted at Covington. That's not in this list. Santa Rita, Almond, Oak, Block, slow down. Oh, okay, Almond. And then this is Oak. I love that one. This one helped me find other projects. You see a lot of butterflies tonight. This is a block, and it's fun with the middle school because they actually gave me directive. There was about 6 things that they requested in their mural. That a committee got together of students, and they said, we want a falcon. We want the falcon to look happy. We want there to be rainbows. We want there to be a selfie moment and glitter, and we want it to be holographic. And I was like, okay. Okay, so there's glitter, and there's a selfie moment. I haven't figured out holographic yet, but I'm working on it. But you're also going to hear selfie moment a lot tonight because selfies are what are driving mural popularity. People want something they can take photos in front of and share with their friends. So I'm very grateful for the selfie moment. It is finding me a lot of work. So, and this is a mural I painted at Egan, and it wasn't a selfie mural, but a friend stood in front of it in a certain way, and I realized it's a selfie mural too. So, and this is my daughter, Allie, and she went to Egan. She's now a senior. She started in kindergarten at Santa Rita. Yeah. So a mural artist is an odd thing. People are always surprised when I say I'm a mural artist. They don't know where to place me. Last week, I told somebody I was a mural artist, and they said, oh, like that guy. And I was like, Diego Rivera? They're like, yes. And I knew that answer because I get that all the time. And I'm like, he lived 80 years ago. Like that's the only thing that people think of when they think of murals. And they often think it's very political. They think of the Mission District. And so I don't paint political murals. I paint for joy. I paint for delight. I think the community, I like to brighten the spaces I go. So I'm a good fit with schools, but I actually think every community deserves color and beauty, things that are custom. Come on in, y'all. Yahoo! Oh, and I don't have a script. You can heckle me all you want. It will make it interesting. You can hold your questions or come along and say them. So I really don't paint controversial things, but I did paint one political mural, and it was actually in Los Altos, the most political mural I've ever painted, and that is the Greta Thunberg mural. I painted this at State and 3rd. It's no longer there. This was a temporary mural when they were building that new Santa Barbara style with the new restaurants, a new building on State and 3rd. So that was taken down just a few months ago. But I would say that was most political, but I don't think it was controversial because we all know that we need to do our part. And this felt like a civic duty to say, come on, you guys, we got to change how we're thinking about things. It's good for everybody to remember. So, but there is a really controversial topic in Los Altos that I do run into frequently in my mural painting.
What does it say? The one thing we need?
The one thing we need, more than hope is action. There's a slide I was meant to land on there. Yeah, so the one controversial thing that comes up a lot with my murals, squirrels. Let's see, I think I don't know how to, there's another squirrel photo. Yeah, squirrels. Some people think they're really cute and fuzzy, and when I'm in the mural, and some people are like, those are rats. My husband is at them with a pellet gun in the backyard. So I'm always like treading on that early, like, so how do you feel about squirrels? Because people weigh in really strongly. So, and then some, yes.
Back to Greta for a second.
Yes.
Did you get any controversial comments or?
No, people coming by were like, thank you for painting this. We're glad it's in the community. I consider it was my first, toe in the water with a political mural. I did feel glad I was painting it, and I'm glad it was well received, and I didn't receive any negative comments.
Is the mural still stiff, or is it?
Did you save it?
I told them they could have it. I gifted it to the Passerelle or Los Altos Foundation. So yeah, and something that's not controversial, pets in the mural. People love their pets. I do this a lot, The wonderful Beverly Dale, she's sitting right there. This is her dog. This is her bull, her stud. And she also sponsored the bear downtown.
Wow.
Okay. So I painted Beverly's bear, stud, and dog, and there's got to be a joke in there, but I couldn't find it. So if you think of the joke, you can tell me at the Q&A, and we can all get a chuckle. But anyway, thank you, Beverly, for. And I paint a lot of residential murals. So I've probably painted about 70 murals that are in public spaces. That includes commercial, schools, public funded murals. But the other sort of 530, I've lost track, that I painted have all been residential. And I really find it's very creative. It's a great place to practice. And they're not necessarily all small projects. So this project was the biggest house in Los Altos Hills at the time. This is where he parks cars, where the kids, they have 6 kids, play soccer. There's a basketball court behind me. There's a bowling alley is through there. It's not a small project. And I painted all his kids, some of his kids twice. I say his, their, sorry. His parents, both sets of grandparents, cousins, dogs. And it's modeled after a little bit Los Altos because they live in Los Altos Hills. They love Los Altos. So I painted, landscapes. There's a fire engine. That's one of the doors. On the other door is like a mechanic's garage because his son is into cars. This looks a little bit like the Los Altos town crier building, on 4th of July. What is it?
Looks like the village pantry, the yellow.
Yeah, I just walked around town and snapped photos. And I needed a lot of material, right? The wall is almost as big as Los Altos, so. And, with the residential murals, I can really have fun. It's very playful. It's not art by committee. It's like, what would be fun for us? So I found out the owner owned an airplane. So I put on his old Ford bumper sticker. My other ride is an Icon 85, just to poke fun at him. And you can imagine this very fancy house, brand new. I put a little note on the other door. I painted, door busted, drive around the back. And people love it. It's great. It's welcome in mural art. Mural art is, to me, a place to have fun, be a little irreverent. And I would say also when I started painting, murals were sort of tacky or out of fashion, right? Instagram has really put them back into fashion. So the best artwork, the best clients a mural artist could find would have been Trader Joe's, which is a great employer for mural artists, and Fry's. Worked for both of them, very grateful to them. But now everybody wants in the game. So I have big name clients now. It just in the last 5 years, so yay. I would be painting anyway, murals. I was painting murals when nobody wanted a mural, and that was fine by me. I thought they were awesome. And now everyone's catching up. Welcome to the ride. It's super fun. So this is google.org in San Francisco. And, painting their diversity. I just throw in fun things. That's an Android hat, or I had a heart sweatshirt I really loved, so I put it on her. And I love putting dogs in my murals because in a workplace, it just makes everyone a little happier, a little softer. This is Lululemon. And this is Lululemon in Los Gatos. If you want to stop by, there's a lot of murals of mine in there. There's 4 different murals, and also in Lululemon Napa. They hired me there. This is at Stanford University. I was just biking by a couple weeks ago with my friend, Anita. And this one was cool because this was at a Arrillaga building, and he's very particular about white walls. None of his buildings, no art. But for me, he went to my website and said, yep, we'll let her put this one on the wall. So that was a really big honor. Yeah, so the clientele has gotten better. It was very fun. It's easier to make a living. And I recently painted this one in downtown Los Gatos, 100 Main Street. And Los Gatos is kind of fancy, and this building was modern, black and white, so I kept it very clean. But they wanted a theme that felt inclusive. So the words in her hair say, listen, learn, change, and grow. And I'm really proud of that. And when I was painting, you know, it's a narrow sidewalk. So there's people passing me all day long. I'm in people's way. So I get a lot of points of bumping into. And actually people are so friendly since COVID, I've noticed. People are happy to be out. People were very friendly to me. And the comment that I heard the most was, oh, you are so talented. I melt in the heart, you know? Who doesn't love to hear that? I loved hearing it. I loved hearing it over and over again. But talented is a tricky word. There's kind of two different definitions in people's heads around talented. So when people tell me I'm talented, I do a little translation in my head and I say, they're noticing that I'm practiced at what I do. And I appreciate that. I'm very practiced at what I do. Sometimes there's a follow-up question that they'll ask after they say, you're so talented. They say, I could never do that. Or they'll say, you must have always been good at art, or you were doing art ever since you were a little girl, you know? And I would say, fixed mindset. And to me, I'm going to go ahead and attempt to disprove that to you tonight. So when I was young, I was not what you would call talented. I had a friend, my best friend in 4th grade. Her name was Lydia LaMonica. She was so neat and put together, very calm girl. She wore skirts. She got straight A's, and she could draw Felix the cat perfectly. It was so clean and beautiful. She was the artist in the class, and everyone said, "Oh, Lydia, draw me Felix the cat today," and she would. And I would try to do my Felix the cat, and like I'd erase it, and it would like crinkle and scratch. That was kind of me in art, you know. And I was probably the main reason I know that I did not do a whole lot of art was because that would have required sitting down for more than a half hour at a time. I was not that kind of a child. I was listening to Esther Perel yesterday. She self-described herself as sublimated hyperactive. I don't know what that means, but I think that sounds pretty good. I was somewhere in that spectrum. So I was definitely sports, climbing trees. I built a little ADU in my house. And it was like a tiny home, you know, like a tree house on the ground with a swinging door. It was awesome. Painted it yellow. So I was busy doing things, but I wouldn't say, people wouldn't have said, oh, she's an artist per se. I did try to take, I petitioned my dad to take, I'm going to take like mechanic auto body in high school. And he was like, no. But there's a lot of signs that I like with my hands. But anyway, what I'm going to show you, what did you say? Oh, in Southern California. Oh, yeah, near Santa Monica, near the beach. It was awesome. But so what happened was I didn't start painting until I was 26. And that was because I couldn't afford a window in my house. I bought this cheapest condo ever. Michael House, you're going to come up because I have to ask you the timing of my murals. You were kind of, you know, in on that scene, but basically, you know, they were re-roofing. The HOA said it's $500 if you want a skylight. I didn't have $500, but after that, like 6 months later, I'm like, that is the darkest stairwell I've ever seen. What is wrong with that stairwell? It's so dark. I should have spent $500 and gotten a skylight, but I didn't and I couldn't. So I was like thinking about the stairwell. And I had scraped the ceiling, the popcorn off the ceiling. I had hammered mosaics and put it over linoleum. I was very handy. I was like, you know what? I think I could paint something on that wall. So I did. That is my first mural. I know, it's really good, right? I worked really hard on this. I was super excited. I put my dog in there. There's a little kitty cat there. And I had lived in Spain for a year, and this was my view. So this was very familiar material. I knew all the little elements from Spain that I wanted to put in here. I thought it was great, but I kept going to my day job. Obviously, nobody's like, oh, do one mural and like quit your job. Like, don't do that. So, but I know. But what happened was when I graduated college, I went to work in an office, and I just had this fear of God in me that I was going to be making copies and answering the phone all day long. So like it was the second or third day, I saw some guy walk by with jeans and a screwdriver, and I'm like, well, what does he do? And like, oh, he's IT. He's fixing the computers. And I was like, well, I could do that. So I just started like, well, can I help you? What do you need? Like, can I do that? What are you fixing? What are you fixing? And so I got into IT. I did that for 5 years. I did a lot of long hours because you're fixing the computers or the system. I did the server and the security and I got all this training. So I was running around all day, up, down, upstairs, downstairs in my company fixing computers, but it was long hours. And I think about 6 years into it, I was like, I don't feel like I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing. I just wanted to eat rice and beans and walk to the library and kind of hit reset. I was like, life is short. This is my chance. No, not married, no mortgage. No, I had a mortgage actually because I had this house that I was working on, but no kids. So I took the leap. I walked into my boss's office. And then I noticed, he said, what are you going to do? I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. But that was sort of the beginning of opening up the space in my life where I just started fixing up my house. I called my grandma. I said, hey, I painted a mural. I really liked it. Do you have a wall that you want me to paint? I called my sister. She had 2 little kids. I was like, oh, do you want me to come paint their nursery or whatever? So I just started painting, people, word of mouth. I found a few mural jobs. I was doing other things too. I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to be a mural artist. But slowly the work just built. So I just had the room in my life and I just kept painting and I was finding work. And I was not like great. I certainly didn't look like I'd been to art school with my artwork. But I thought, they got 4 years of practice. Why don't I just paint for 4 years and I'll decide then. Like if somebody wants to pay me and I'm not sitting in a server room, I don't care if I'm painting fairies and flowers, like they're paying me and I'm having fun, so we're good. So that was sort of my approach. Very practical, very low bar, but that was where I was at. So, and then I want to show you some before and afters so that you can see what practice brings you. So in 2018, somebody in Palo Alto wanted me to paint their dark basement. They said something kind of European and, I really want the space to feel nicer. I said, oh, I know that one. I know that same desire. I had that same desire. So I painted this French Trump Louis deal. He put in the flooring and the lighting, so he helped me out, but the artwork really changed the space. Oh, yeah. And then, so this is an early professional client. I got paid to do this kids' room. It was awesome. Little monkey, kind of looks like a stuffed animal. I was doing my cheetah, I could do animals maybe in profile. It's very green, I was painting my heart out. I had a great time. And then that's 2015.
Wow.
And you can just see the depth, you got a capuchin, the animals are starting to turn towards you.
The lighting, so just the lights.
Yeah, it just has more depth and everything. And by the way, the only clients who want snakes in the mural are 12-year-old boys. And even over themes. So this was for swimoutlet.com in 2011. They wanted this Olympic swimmer mural. And then a year later, somebody saw this mural on our website. They were building an Olympic swim center in Raleigh. And they said, would you paint the same thing on our wall? I said, yeah, I can paint the same thing on your wall. But the thing is the second time you do something, your brain thinks about it totally differently. So that was my second attempt at an underwater. I mean, I want to see my third, but I won't know until somebody commissions me, because that's just how I roll. So, but
That's the far wall there. Of the pool.
yeah, this was their firewall they had to put in. And the best thing about what I do is I solve problems. So like we had to put in this firewall. We're renovating the center, and this firewall is hideously ugly, and it's right in the middle of our building. We don't know what to do with it. Haha, that is the best spot for a mural. And I'm chronically turning the worst thing in someone's home or in their space into the best part of their space. And that's what's so fun. And also something fun about this, and the reason I think it got better, is because I was doing research all throughout the day. So it was like 90 degrees there, humid. I would jump in the pool, kick my legs, out of the splash, and then get back up on the lift and do it. And like eventually all my clothes get migrated to be painting clothes, everything I own. But I just never thought that I would have a bikini in the painting pile. I kept that painted bikini for a while thinking, I think this is gonna come in handy again someday. And it did, actually, later. This is an early landscape. This was somebody's, residential client. Again, nobody would say like, oh yeah, quit your day job. You are a genius. They would say, hey, that's really pretty. That's really pretty. Nice job. And then this is more recently, this is 2012. And I put this one first because, I just saw that I've learned, like, put depth, put arches. It's just paint. It's an inch more paint. This skimpy, don't do the skimpy. Give them lots of flowers, lots of depth, lots of richness. It's just paint. It costs the same amount of money to paint it. So it's really as much as your imagination can accommodate. And this was recently, this was a couple months ago. Again, they had a lemon situation, which was they had this concrete, this is really actually a nice wall. It was cinder block. And this looks over their whole yard. Their kids play there. They were during COVID lockdown looking on this ugly cinder block wall. And they called me and they said, we just want like something like a garden. It's just so hot and ugly out there. Well, okay, I can do a garden. So that's the garden. And I just show that, so much color, bunnies, people love bunnies, birds, there's butterflies. I mean, this just nicer, and really shows the expansion of practice. Yes.
Is that kind of visible from the street too? Is it like on the driveway?
Yeah, it's on the driveway. You can see, it's a driveway you can see, but it's not close enough. They probably don't want people peeking in. But again, it's very green. The clouds, like I'm learning. And so it's actually been a conversation. I'm always looking at clouds. If I paint clouds, when I look at clouds more carefully the next week, I say, I could do that next time, or I could do that next time. And you look at plants differently. It's been like a conversation, a visual conversation. I'm more curious. Like I'm always painting poppies and I'm like, oh yeah, I never noticed how the light hits there. It's something that is, has made me a better observer in life. So then that's 2021. Yeah, are these kids cute? So, and I just want to say, the thing is I think all of us are incredibly talented. It's just not patently obvious to people walking down the street in an instant, right? You're so much better at whatever you have been spending your time doing for the last 20 years, so much better. Your interpersonal, like navigation of those conversations, you're a whiz, but nobody's walking up to you. It's like, you're so talented, but actually we all are. It's just, I've been spending a lot of time doing this. And I'm getting better, and it's super exciting. And I can't wait to see, what comes next. And I just thought these kids were so cute. And so the place where I had the most growth, because I was terrified of painting people. This is 2003. I don't think I painted people for a good 8 to 10 years after I painted this, because I was so scarred. I was like the mural artist that didn't paint people in the mural. And there was one day I was like, I think this is gonna really hamstring my career. So I think I need to start painting people. So, I got some books, I went to some open studios, but the main thing is I started making my mural designs with people in them. So people would pay me to paint people. And I wouldn't charge a lot more, even though it would take me 3 times longer, and they wouldn't be great. But I thought the same as I felt right at the beginning. If somebody's willing to pay me, I'm willing to do my best. and we'll just see where it goes. And so, yeah, so, you know, I did good for somebody with no, I was an economics major. This is really good for an economics major, you guys. I have to say, this is talented for an economics major. But again, it's not super professional. And then, so this was in San Mateo. I not only put 50 people in this mural, I made them all dancing salsa. Or like she's doing a cartwheel towards you. Sandra, she's in the back row. She's doing a spin there. I used all my friends in this mural and neighbors. I was taking photos. This is my dog. These are my neighbors, all these people. I'm like, can you just spend 10 minutes and let me take a photo and let me try to do this?
Where did you say this is? Where's the
This is at the San Mateo Credit Union in Redwood City. Yeah, so I just started practicing. I mean, I went from that to practice. Yeah, just hours in. And then, oh, that's a nice close up. And that was pretty, you know, pretty good. Oops. I was gonna say, then I did this one, and then I used Zoe, who's Sandra's daughter back there. Sandra's my best friend, so she like incorporates herself in every single mural practically in some way. But I used her daughter as a model for this one. So now, you know, I put people in my murals, and I'm gonna do my own Q&A now. 4 more projects, and I'm just gonna walk you through 4 more projects, and then we'll have fun with question and answers. What's your most recent project? It's the one of the video I showed yesterday. This is at Midfield Havana in San Jose, off Story Road. And the city of San Jose, I was on the short list of approved artists. I applied to do that. And then this particular community has been lobbying their congressperson for a long time for a mural. This is a dead zone. It's like a corner, and they want a park, which is on its way now. The park will hopefully be installed in the next year. And they lobbied their congressperson and got the funding. So the city of San Jose, you know, gave them these options, and they selected me as the artist. And I designed it really with the Hispanic community in mind. It's mostly 1st and 2nd generation immigrant families, some Vietnamese. But I really felt like, so there's butterflies coming to her hair. And then to me, she represented the hope of the next generation. The arrows are sort of all the directions in life. The mandala, this really her royal birthright as a human being, full of potential. And then the echoes, the sort of the dots that go out, sort of echoes, and they turn into sort of moons to really show it takes a lot of time for us to really realize the fullness of our potential. Yes.
It's kind of like a peacock that.
I know. I just put that in there. So the coolest thing about doing this for so long and having so much practice is I just show up and I just do what I feel. I have a lot of spontaneity in my practice. So this mandala was like, what's in the 2nd layer? What's in the 3rd layer? And I did that shape, and it was blue, and I was just like, peacock, because to me, that's a lot of symbol in a lot of cultures for just the royal blues of being very beautiful. But I really wanted to elevate the feeling that she has, her power, empower her to her possibility. That was really what I wanted to do. This is pulled back, so this is where the park is going to go here, and I'm going to try to lobby them. We have an unveiling next Friday to plant milkweed all along here, so when the kids contemplate the park, they can see butterflies all around the perimeter. So I'm yakking that idea up. I hopefully will be there with a shovel. This used to be piled up. They were telling me, city art director of San Jose was telling me this used to be piled up with trash up to the orange line. They had to clear this out. And so it's a really big renovation. And the water, the Vietnamese weighed in and they said, we just want to make sure the mural has water in it. So I put that watermelon in it. That's milkweed, poppies. And the coolest thing is this little one, I put this here on purpose. It's a selfie moment for kids. And actually the big one is the perfect size for adults too. So I thought, well, you might as well. That's me on break. I love my van. It's parked out there. It's like my what is the horse's name? You know, a Tonto. I take naps in my van. I spend a lot of time during the day in my van. It's decorated in art. I painted this on someone's ceiling once, this Birth of Venus. So I bought a huge poster of the Birth of Venus. And when I was done with the job, I didn't know what to do with it. So I put it on the ceiling of my van. Funniest project, just because we're here to have a little fun. This client sawed a boat in half. He liked to fish, put the boat on his ceiling, and hired me to paint himself fishing with his family in the boat on the ceiling. This is in San Jose, super playful. I love playful. I love this dog here too. He's like, what's the big deal? Why is this big scaffolding in here?
Are you saying there's a real boat up there? or you
That's a
saying-
real boat.
Okay.
That's a real boat. I did not paint that boat. So it's a real boat. That's just kid. His son got married. They flew me back down to paint his new wife in the boat. So return client, return business. This was in San Diego. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Did I suggest this? What is your favorite project? So I get asked this a lot, and the answer is always the one I'm working on right now. I love every project. There's something precious, like every day. I mean, Beverly's nodding, like, wasn't that fun, Beverly? Like, it's like, this is fun. This is fun today. Like, it's happening all the time. And, but it pressed. I decided I have a favorite. So I'm gonna share my favorite. Somebody emailed me some photos of a beautiful island, like paradise island. I said, we have this little tiny island. Will you come and to our island and paint the buildings with birds and flowers and your nature? We love your nature ability. So I went to this island called Flores. It's Ilha das Flores. It's Portuguese. It's in the Azores, part of Portugal. It is kind of halfway between Boston and Portugal. The map's kind of turned so you can't tell, but it's about halfway. Subtropical, rains a ton, lots of waterfalls. The hillsides are covered in hydrangeas. It's totally magical. This is Casey and Andrea. They're the ones who they spearheaded the project. They found about 5 walls for me and got the funding together. And they just had this idea that we want to make this island people are it's very isolated, hundreds of years old. It's like going back to the Middle Ages. And there's just families have been there for so long. They get a lot of subsidies, I guess, from the mainland. And there's a feeling of, they don't know that they live in paradise. It's a very strange thing. They think they're on welfare, stranded in the middle of nowhere. Kids don't stay. There's not even a hospital on the island. It's sort of like where you wash up and like just hang out. And they really thought, this place has potential. We want to get tourists here. We want to make this a vibrant island. It's 2,000 people.
Is there an airport or how do you get to it?
Yeah, the airport is like the main coffee shop in town. It's the main place in town. One airport, one flight a day. So this is a view of the island. That's one of the murals I painted. That's the snipe. Basically, every photo I'm going to show you will have an ocean somewhere in it. I had an ocean view every day, no matter where I was standing, which was amazing. And it's always warm. The water's warm. So this is a snipe I painted. And that's what was right behind me as I paint. I mean, it was fabulous. And I ended up painting 15 murals in the 21 days I was there. Because what happened is after I painted the first 3 walls that they found, suddenly all these walls opened up. Oh, Margarita over there on her 300-year-old barn, she wants a mural. And the post office, which is so bureaucratic, suddenly they're like, we don't care about what Lisbon says. You guys go ahead and paint this on here. So I got 15 walls and they were all spontaneous. And what I would do is I would paint. The other cool thing, no Wi-Fi. It's a really different thing. You're totally disconnected. The dreams, the waterfalls, it was like a dream. The whole thing was an alternate reality. But so I would paint about 6 hours a day. That, like a bird like this would take me just 3 hours, but I painted 3 birds on this wall. You'll see in the next one. It's just so beautiful. The sunsets, and the rest of the time I would play. I would swim. I would hike. There, I painted this bird, and then another one out there. It's just so beautiful. So I went spelunking one day. This is a work trip. Don't tell David you didn't see this video. I don't want you to. Goats as neighbors. This was on a hike. I mean, it was just incredibly colorful. Flourish Island. And I'd pay attention to little details, like the ferns made this little heart I saw when I was studying these ferns. So the next day I put it in this kids mural I painted at the school. in town. So, and that says Flores is my home. And this is just sunbathing. Sorry, I'm showing you vacation photos. I thought that'd be entertaining. And the couple that hired me owned the coffee shop in town, and they baked amazing cakes. And every day I would just try all down the line. I'll have one, you know, one slice, one of each, 4 or 5 different kinds every day. They were amazing. I swam with the dolphins, so many dolphins out there, and really fun. So this is one of the buildings that was just offered up spontaneously to me. And it's right there along the road. People can see it when they come around the curve. It sort of emerges. There's a lot of rain, sometimes some fog. So I loved playing. Like I was learning as I was there. It's the same iteration thing. The first mural is like how I think in California. The second mural, how I think in California, plus a little bit. By the end, I was doing these old buildings and having things kind of emerge and be part of the environment. Because I realized, you know, this is so important. This is so precious to me. We don't have, you know, 1,000-year-old buildings around here. Michael.
You put some kind of coating over them, given all the rain they get there?
You know, I didn't. In general, my personal philosophy is I'm not super precious about longevity and preservation. I feel like when it fades, it'll be beautiful as it fades, even more subtle. And then somebody else can paint something on it. You know, it doesn't need to last forever. I almost like the idea of temporal art. So many people don't do things because they think, oh, it's such a big commitment, it's forever. No, paint over it. I put it in my contracts. You know, it's very unusual. I say you can paint over this mural at any time for any reason. I'll do that with commercial, with schools, because there's been so many lawsuits. People, the artists protecting their work. And then what happens is business owners, building owners will say, I don't want a mural. I don't want the risk of a lawsuit. So I kind of go the opposite. Let's make more art. There's so much where this came from, idea-wise. Let's employ people. Let's get fresh ideas out there. More art. Paint over it. In Los Altos, we could have a wall and have a new mural there every year. It'd be so fun. Give a different artist a chance to showcase their work. Don't be precious about it. Paint over the next time. They know that it's a temporal thing. They sign up for that. I've done that for a company, Minted. I've painted several times the same wall because they want a fresh look and feel. I say, great. So don't you write any more checks? Let's go paint some more. It's work for me and I'm having fun and it's not precious like that. For me, that's me personally. A lot of artists disagree on that point, and I respect that too, but that's how it is for me. So I painted 15. I painted, magic. I have to tell you about magic happening. So every time I would paint a bird, like within 24 hours, I would see that bird like live. So I painted this wagtail, and the next day, like I'm taking a walk down the road and I see this bird. I'm like, that's so weird. I've never seen a bird do that. It's like wagging its tail. And I was like, that's a wagtail. Oh my gosh, I just painted one yesterday. I've never seen one in my life, you know? And it was like, I got it. And like this one, I was like, you're never gonna see that one. I finish it, I sit down on a bench and literally it's right there. And there's these two old guys and I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, you don't really see those very often. This beautiful, unbelievable bird. It was, the whole trip was like this. It was very strange. So I love this canary one too. Or was it goldfinch? No, I'm forgetting. It was a goldfinch. Because I was translating, I was speaking Spanish a lot and searching there in Spanish, and they were helping me. They were giving me which birds were. So actually this island is a crossover island. A lot of boats for the last 10,000 years, the Vikings stopped there. So you got a lot of crossover birds. So you actually have birds from even Africa on this island. So they're on that island, but they're not necessarily native to the island. And then I'm looking them up in Portuguese, so sometimes they don't listen. This was in the airport. That was on the airport wall.
What did the locals have to say as you were doing
Oh,
this?
they were so happy. They camped out behind me and watched me. They had nothing to do. They did a whole family out. They'd be like just sitting there. It's getting dark. I'm like, did you guys need to go get dinner? I mean, there's no rush there. So that was another exciting thing. Being from Silicon Valley, and then all of a sudden time is like rubber. Like it doesn't teach it. There's no checking, there's no pinging, there's no messages, there's no phone ringing. They just hang out.
Mattresses, it seems.
Yes, they did. They put their mattresses out there to watch me paint the mural. And I love this. This was like 10 minutes after opening this roller. It broke in half, like, because it's just cardboard inside. So, it's fun using local materials. And so I have one more project, and it's a video I thought I'd show you. I went to China, and I chose to bring my meditation teacher with me. So it was like 2 weeks of a personal meditation retreat in China. So it was really special for me. She teaches, she taught for 27 years at Los Altos High, Roma Hamo. She's a beloved meditation teacher, and I mean, high school teacher. So it really made the trip special for me. So that's part of the reason I think I can just push that and let's see the video. No dancing. Oh yeah, there's the dancing in this video too.
In the video.
Excited to be here and to be a part of this project, and I have no idea what I'm going to create. And this is an honor to see the caliber of artists that I just saw. I mean, so moved by the project. So I'm excited to see what unfolds over the next week. It's really exciting.
Here comes the sun, and I say it's all right. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here.
For my piece, I decided to paint a butterfly with a world map imprinted on one of its wings, and it's on blossoms that are crossing the two panels. And I chose the subject because thinking of the butterfly effect, that really the small, tender actions that we take on a daily basis have the potential to create a broader impact. And this day and age with the tools that we have through technology, that the impact is more likely to be global than ever.
Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. And I say it's all right.
It's a skewed map that we've learned. So I thought, you know, I'm going to skew it my own way and put China and the US a little bit closer also, because art does change perception. It changes how we feel about something, and then it changes how we live accordingly to our beliefs. So sometimes if art has us feel like, wow, China and the US are actually kind of neighbors, and look at they just almost touch up.
Darling, I feel that ice is slowly melting. Little darling, it seems like years.
And I chose nature as home because, you know, the idea that the whole planet is on the side of the butterfly, the idea that we're really all one, all in this together, and that the planet is our only home, and you know that we're one.
Here comes the sun, I say it's all right. Sun, sun, sun.
I'm really happy that I had the opportunity to come here and paint. I'm happy with what came out. It was unplanned. I didn't have a design before I came. Students like this, and then I get to meet it.